G'day viewers, and welcome to the latest episode of It's Always Beeroclock. I'm Mark.
And I'm Sidekick Dave. Mark, where's Simon today?
Dave, Simon was in hospital earlier this week for some surgery. The good news is he was out by the next day. He's recuperating and I'm sure he'll be back with us for the next episode.
Well, where are we today, Mark?
Dave, we're visiting the Shark Island Brewery in Kirrawee. Let's go in and check it out. We're here at Shark Island Brewery with Alan, the head brewer.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks Alan.
Good, thanks for coming along.
Yeah, nice to be here. Now, first up, I guess, could you tell us a little bit about the background history of Shark Island?
Well, I've only been here about 5 months myself.
Right.
But it was named Shark Island after one of the breaks over like Cronulla way. So the beers have a bit of a surfy kind of theme. So
right.
Like the Shiprock and the Sand Shoes, those are breaks over by Cronulla sort of beach.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, local surf breaks.
All right, and so how, you say you haven't been here too long, but how long has the brewery been in operation?
We will have been here 10 years this July, so 2 more months.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, happy birthday.
Yeah, thanks, yeah.
Now, you mentioned a couple of the beers here, so I presume you've got a core range and also some specialty or seasonal beers. So maybe you could take us through your core range.
All right, well, we've got a lager and an Australian pale ale. Plus we've got these guys, the Voodoo IPA and the Sand Shoes XPA, as well as the Shiprock Hazy Pale Ale.
Right.
And we also have the Point Dark Ale just over there.
Okay.
So it's a good beer. They're all good beers.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
Plus,
we'll be tasting all of them, no doubt about that.
All right, nice. And we've also got a black IPA available at the moment. We've got a mountain rye. So the rye was grown on the side of a mountain out sort of near Cowra.
Okay.
And we malted it here ourselves.
Right.
And then brewed with that, and it came up pretty well. Yeah, nice bit of spice to it.
Well, we'll look forward to trying that one. And you've also got what's called a Yorkshire Pale Ale here.
Yeah, that's my assistant Dave, our assistant brewer. He brewed that, and that's one of his like go-to favourite recipes.
Okay, well we're just trying this one now. It's quite nice. I've got to say, tastes better than a Yorkshire Pale Ale does in Yorkshire.
Oh, good.
Now the Voodoo IPA is
the Voodoo looks a bit like this, and it's nice and dark, and like we've got a lot of malt characters, but a nice strong bitterness as well. Yeah, it's got a subtle hint of sweetness just to sort of balance it out a bit, but you get the sweetness from the body, so it's got a bit more body than some of those other beers. Yeah.
Okay, now we said the brewery here, it's pretty small.
It is pretty small, yeah.
So what sort of brewing capacity do you have here?
The brew length is about 400 litres, 450 litres a brew. So that little fermenter, these little guys at the front, they only hold 1 brew each, but the bigger boys hold like 1,200, 1,300 litres. So it takes 3 brews to fill them. And we can usually knock over 2 brews in a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are your beers only available on tap here at the brewery, or are they available at local pubs?
It's pretty much just here at the moment.
Okay, but you also sell your beer in cans?
Yeah. The guys down at Warrenora Cellars have a few of our cartons.
Right.
And there are a few rogue bottle shops that have ours as well.
I presume people can also order it online?
Oh yeah, through Shopify, or just send an email to sales@sharkisland.com.
Okay. You've only come on board relatively recently, but are there any particular plans to do anything different over the next 12 to 18 months, or is it steady as she goes?
It's fairly steady. We are planning to expand though, so we've pretty much outgrown these premises.
Okay.
So we are looking to expand to a bigger premise
Find
nearby.
somewhere else nearby, yeah.
And we're seriously considering installing a kitchen or a space for a dedicated truck.
Okay.
Something like that. So we'll have better, like a wider variety of food options as well, and we can recommend some beer matches to go with the foods. But yeah, we'll certainly be working towards some new beers as well.
Okay, and I should ask, you've briefly gone through the range of beers that you've got here. Is there one in particular that's the most popular?
The sand shoes would be one of the more popular ones because it's nice and refreshing and light coloured.
Yeah.
It's easily approachable, and but the people who enjoy good beer, they tend to gravitate towards the IPAs, so the Voodoo or the Grumpy Brewer.
Right.
With an image of one of the previous brewers on there.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not the Grumpy Brewer, I'm the Disgruntled Brewer.
Oh.
But we do have some serious Shiver followers.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
that's the black?
Yeah, the black IPA. So that's a bit of, like a cross between a couple of beers. So it's got the bitterness and the hoppy characters that you might find in an IPA, but it's got a lot of those dark, roasty, sort of, coffee kind of flavours that you'd associate with like a stout or a porter perhaps.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not for the uninitiated, those ones.
Okay.
Those sorts of beers.
Oh, well, consider us initiated. We'll be trying that one. So, Alan, has Shark Island turned out any sort of unusual, wacky type beers?
Yeah, we had a Christmas cake ale until recently.
Okay.
So that was like a Belgian beer with some, like cinnamon and raisins and, the nutmeg and stuff like that in there.
Right.
We did a choc mint stout, which was really popular.
Okay.
Yeah, so just imagine a choc mint ice cream, but
I get that, but
carbonated.
I'm finding it hard to, combine that with the flavour of beer. But
it's possible. Yeah.
I'll have to come back. Are you thinking of putting it on again?
Maybe. We were talking about a stout today because now that it's the end of autumn, we could brew one now in time for winter. So colder months are better for darker beers.
Yeah.
So and we were discussing perhaps bringing back the choc mint stout, or at least one of the stouts.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to come back in a couple of months' time. All right, Alan. Great to talk to you. Thanks, mate.
You too. Thanks for stopping by.
Okay. We're here at Shark Island with Frank and Gary. G'day, guys.
Hey guys, how are you?
Yeah, great. Now, Frank, have you been to this brewery before?
Yeah, once or twice. Yeah, but no, seriously. I've been coming since day one of pretty much of opening, which is I think about 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, nearly 10, I'm told.
Oh, really? There you go. Time flies.
Yeah, time flies. And Gary, are you a regular as well?
Yeah, pretty much since the same time.
Yeah.
Frank's probably confused because we lost a couple of years during COVID.
Oh yeah, that'd be right. So, do you have a favourite brew here, Frank?
Well, I did previously like. I did start off with the lager, the premium lager, but now I'm a big fan of the Australian ale.
Australian ale.
Yeah, that's my go-to.
Okay, Gaz, how about you?
Probably Sand Shoes. And
Sand Shoes,
this Yorkshire
XPA?
one's pretty good.
Yeah, we're just trying a Yorkshire.
Yeah,
which
we
is
tried
new.
the Yorkshire as well. Wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, guys, thanks for talking to us.
Yeah, it's very
No
drinkable.
problem.
Okay, well, we're here in sunny Kirrawee with Brooke and Steve. Good afternoon, Brooke.
Good afternoon.
Brooke, have you been to Shark Island before?
I have.
Okay, and do you have
few times.
a favourite brew here?
Everything. I'll try everything.
Okay,
Why not?
all right, and what are you having now?
This is the Australian ale. The lager. Sorry, the lager. The lager. Sorry.
Lager.
About that.
Okay,
Lager.
and your assessment of that, Brooke?
Very nice. Very nice.
Excellent. And Steve, I take it you've also been here on several occasions.
We've been here a few times, yes.
Okay, do you have a favourite brew here?
I do like the XPA. I just tried the new one, which is the
Yorkshire?
The Yorkshire, and I quite like that. And this is my third beer today here, and this is the lager as well. And I think I'd go for the Yorkshire as my preference today. But this is a very good beer too. Only one sip in.
Well, enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay, we're here with Richard, who is the owner of Shark Island. G'day, Richard.
G'day, mate. How you going?
Good, thanks. Now, I understand you took over within the last 12 months, is that right?
Yeah, so I guess I have an interesting story about how I came to own this brewery.
Sure.
I'm actually a mechatronic engineer and run a robotics and automation company about a block from here.
Okay.
It's called Strategic Engineering.
Okay,
and
we plug there for strategic engineering.
We put in robotic systems for manufacturers and robotics, automation, vision systems, that sort of thing. I have done some work for some beer brewing companies like Foster's and things in the past.
Right.
Not a hell of a lot, but general automation, the food industry, and a whole lot of other industries. And so anyway, a few years ago, I bought a farm, 2,500 acres, out at a place called Goolagong.
Okay.
Just thought it would be fun to have a lot of land and got this farm. And then there was a lot of grass to eat on this farm, so I got some cows and started to stock the place up. And then I heard that spent brewer's grain was a really good
feed for
cattle.
Yeah.
And so Shark Island here, just being one block away from my engineering office, I came around one Saturday and bought a schooner at the bar and started chatting to whoever was here, and one of them turned out to be one of the owners, or the previous owners rather.
Right.
And I said, "Oh, what do you do with your spent grain?" And he said, "Oh, we throw it out. We pay to have it disposed of. You're welcome to have as much as you like." And so I got some second-hand 200-litre plastic drums and dropped around half a dozen, and then every few weeks I started picking up sort of half a dozen barrels and full barrels and putting them back in my ute and dropping off some empties, and started that system.
Right.
And every time I did, I'd sort of chat to the head brewer at the time, James, who's a lovely guy, and sort of became friends, and then we just have a chat about Shoot the Breeze when I picked them up, and then this was back in 2023, I guess, and so throughout 2023 picked up the barrels every few weeks, and then at the end of that year they said, "Oh, we're going to sell the brewery." And I'm like, okay, send me the details. So they did.
Right.
And then a fair bit of back and forth, I suppose, before trying to get some information about the business side of things and various things, and eventually came to a deal, and I ended up agreeing to take over. And Okay, well, that's a really interesting story, because probably most people don't come to brewery ownership through that way. Has it? I suppose there's been ups and downs in the ownership experience so far. Has it gone sort of according to how you had expected? No. But that's okay. So anyway, I think there were previously. Actually, I don't know the exact number of previous owners. They told me it was like between 11 and 14 or something like that. I've heard various numbers. But anyway, so it didn't quite go to plan. But I suppose the positive is that I'm the only owner now, and because I heard previously they sometimes had a tension of what decision to make when they had too many ideas in the mix.
Too many chiefs.
Too many chiefs. Yep. And so I guess I thought, well, if I take over and I'm just the only owner, I can, call the shots, and we can maybe make some of those decisions that could advance the brewery. It took a little while to and to tell you the other reasons I bought it. I thought I've got a couple of hundred head of cattle out at my farm, and I thought, well, I'm feeding them the Shark Island spent grain. Maybe we could bring that beef back and some lamb that I've got there as well, and feed people at the cellar door here.
So we see the barbecues going there. So are we going to be eating your cows?
You will be, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we recently hired a proper chef and he's only started a few weeks ago, and he started to use our beef in the form of patties for the burgers, and he's going to be expanding that menu in time and varying it to provide some variation and some hopefully use a lot of our beef in times to come. We also set up a fridge next to the takeaways fridge, and we did trial putting in a whole lot of cuts of meat.
Okay.
And actually, last Anzac Day, we had a whole lot of cuts of meat in the fridge, and just at butcher's prices.
Yeah.
And we had a sort of cook your own steak day. So that was good. That worked out. And we're going to try some. We're just experimenting at the moment.
That's a great concept.
See what works.
So it's a brewery and a butcher. And look, Alan mentioned that you may be looking for larger premises. Is that correct?
Yeah. Look, so I suppose I bought Shark Island for a few different reasons. One of them is because I got the farm and got that cycle going, and I hope to grow some grain. I've got actually a whole lot of schooner barley about to be supplied to my property so that I can plant it if we get it in time in the ground ready to grow. So the farm's basically organic as well, so we'll be able to brew basically organic beer and then have a cycle of organic beef and
fantastic.
But yeah, the other reason I bought it is I've got a few different factories here in Kirrawee, and at the time when I ended up purchasing Shark Island, I had a tenancy vacancy in one of those, and I considered moving into that. But I've got another property across the highway, which is a dilapidated old building, but we should be able to do something special with it. It'll take some time, a couple of years or something, but
yeah,
we'll chip away at designing that and then building that and then moving the brewery over to that location.
Okay, well that's an interesting story. Thanks for telling us, Richard, and all the best.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Cheers. All right, so here we are with
Steve.
Steve, nice to meet you, Steve.
Nice to meet you too.
Have you been to this brewery before?
I have, once or twice.
Okay, and do you have a sort of go-to style of beer, Steve?
Well, typically I like a mid-strength, but in these craft breweries there's always a hazy or an IPA that's quite interesting. But my tipple, the drink I keep in the fridge, typically a mid-strength, and since I was here last, they've got a mid-strength in the range, and that was probably one of the reasons why I hadn't come here that often, because they didn't have a mid-strength. So now I'll have to come back more and more.
Okay, and
it's not bad either.
I take it that's what you've got. So yeah, and describe it to us.
Well, it's cold and it's wet, and it's quite flavoursome, I would say. So yeah, I think it's bold enough to drink, but light enough at 3.5 to drink a bunch of them.
Okay, so it holds its own. It's a worthy drink.
It is. Yes.
Cheers. Here at It's Always Beeroclock, we're saying good afternoon to Michelle.
Hi.
And Alex.
Hey.
Guys, it looks like you enjoy your craft beer. Michelle, have you been here before?
We have a while ago though.
Okay.
Yes.
And of the beers you've tasted today, do you have a favourite?
Well, I prefer this one so far, which is the number one, which is the Australian Ale. This one is the Yorkshire Pale Ale.
Right.
It's a bit too Vegemite-y for me.
Okay.
But yeah, that's all I've tried so far.
Okay. Alex, how about you?
I enjoy the XPA. That's quite nice.
The Sandshoes XPA?
Yeah, Sandshoes
It's
XPA.
just quite fruity, I found.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, and is that sort of your go-to style, the sort of fruitier beers?
I'm a bit fruity. No. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know if you get a lot of fruity beers off the shelf, like in the the Dan Murphys and so forth. So it's kind of nice to come to like a craft brewery and have something a bit different.
All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had an excellent afternoon here at Shark Island. We've been well looked after by Alan, the head brewer, and Richard, the owner. Dave, what did you think about the brewery and the beers?
Oh, in terms of the brewery, I think they've got a very compact brewery in the tap room. It's quite snug, but you get a feeling of being really as like a part of the action, which is good. The beers, well, I know I've said this before, I haven't had a bad beer here. My two standouts, tough to choose, but the standouts, the Voodoo IPA, strong, but really flavoursome, really, really good. And the other one for me was the Dark Ale. I think they refer to it as the Point Dark Ale. Again, not overly strong, but really, really flavoursome. Mark, your thoughts on the venue and also the beers?
Well, the venue's fairly typical of a craft brewery. It's in the depths of a industrial area here in Kirrawee. Beer-wise, I'd say the Sancho's XPA was nice, fruity, fresh, refreshing, and also, as you said, David, the Voodoo IPA was really good. I'd also give him a special mention to, I think it was called the Mountain Rye.
The Mountain Rye, yes. Only 3.3%. I reckon it presented like a 5% beer. Really, really flavoursome.
And a little bit unusual, having been made from rye down in southern New South Wales,
and roasted here in I think it was pie heaters.
Oh, in the pie warmer.
Yeah.
I think they germinated the rye, or what do they call it? Malted the rye in the pie warmer. So we love a good pie as well.
I love it.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, the burgers here were superb, made from beef from
sourced from Richard's farm.
From Richard's farm, yeah. So I think we can thoroughly recommend the beer, and we can thoroughly recommend the burgers.
100% for that. And what I'm surprised was, not more people have discovered the place.
Well, get on down here, folks, and remember, until next time, it's always Beeroclock. That was a bit off the cuff, but
there's some fluffs, but we'll take it.
Yeah.
Sorry.